that was kind of a bad move on Conor McGregor's fault. He's an MMA fighter. He's not a boxer. He was kind of going outside of what his. It's like a baseball player going in and just like, I'm going to be a wide receiver.
Yeah.
If you're going up against someone that is a conditioned cornerback and has been doing it 10 years, you're at a disadvantage. And that was Conor McGregor's situation. He went from MMA to boxing, thinking he could transition completely, and that's unrealistic.
Yeah, I didn't even know nothing really anything about that stuff. I did watch that fight. Because I was invited over to a friend's house, and I told him, like, dude, I don't know anything about this. Just come on over here and have a bunch of us watch this. I'm like, okay. Here I am, like, hey, so who do y'all think's gonna win? So I get this look like, what? It's like, we all know Florida's gonna win. I'm like, okay. He's like, I didn't know that. And they are very knowledgeable about that field. I'm like, I'm not. So I'm like, I thought, like, who's gonna win? I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought I put bets on everything. I was, but they're really familiar with that stuff, and so yeah, he's not gonna win this. It's like they went several rounds. I'm like, hey, that was a close fight. It's like Floyd was playing with him. He was not really being serious for the. I'm like, I thought he was serious. I thought he'd winner. It's like, no, he's got the experience. He's not gonna lose. He's just goofing around with the guy. I'm like, okay. It's like I didn't understand that really. I mean, I guess you can. I guess if you want to put it in our terms, I guess you want to look at a Braun Strowman versus
James Ellsworth.
There you go.
Well, from honestly, like when it comes to those two fights, I was firmly behind Manny Pacquiao winning that one. I was just convinced it was going to happen. And I didn't know much about it. I just happened to look up a few fights on YouTube between the two. I'm like, okay, I can see how Manny Pacquiao can beat him. When it came down to Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, I didn't have an opinion on that because, again, I don't know. I don't really follow either sport too closely. I'm familiar enough with it. But I had people like, if you think Conor McGregor is going to win, you're nuts. And talking with them, they're like, because Conor McGregor is a good fighter. And if this was an MMA fight, I would say it would be him all day. But you're taking an MMA fighter and putting him in a boxing match where he's not in his strong suit. And he goes, and at that, Conor McGregor is a pretty good striker, but he's not a boxer. Those are two different type of things.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much sold on that it was going to win. Which whoever promoted that did an amazing job in getting those two on board because I know for a fact they made money hand over fist.
Oh, yeah, big time. Absolutely. That's why they even did, really. I mean, it's... that night Floyd retired. He said, "Is he still retired?" I don't know.
I don't think so because I remember seeing something the other day where I think they want him to fight either Jake Paul or Logan Paul, which is just a guy that's popular from like YouTube and whatnot. I think there's supposed to be a fight between those two, and
retirement.
He might be. I look, Floyd Mayweather. It's a Ric Flair boxing. Let's be real. He's never going to be officially retired. People are going to keep going to that well for money.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you get the money, if you're able to do it, I guess that's that's what you.
I guess Ric Flair was harsh. I guess even like Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? People that won't stay retired.
Hulk Hogan. His body was already down and over with for quite a long time into his career.
Right,
but,
right.
He kept coming back for to make some money too.
Right, that's what I mean. They're going to keep going to the Floyd Mayweather. And honestly, like if Floyd Mayweather stays out of it for a while, I do think that Mike Tyson will probably be a fight down the line too.
I heard he was Mike Tyson recently. I heard he was going to fight again.
He did fight recently. He
did fight. Okay.
He did not do well, which let's be honest, Mike Tyson hasn't been fighting for years, so
yeah,
I don't blame him for not doing well. It's just one of those where you have this guy from like the 90s.
Yeah, I heard about that from somebody or the radio or something, and I'm like, wait a minute, wow, he's pretty old, especially for that sport in general. I mean, I was surprised to hear that. I was like, well, I know he had some financial issues years ago, or still, I don't know.
I think he fought. it might be wrong. I just remember hearing about him fighting, and I could be wrong if he's actually already done it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like I said, I heard about him. I was a little surprised. I'm like, well, he might need the money or just that's probably
Here's the thing: Mike Tyson can just ride his life out on the on his name completely.
Oh, he could, yeah, by far.
They can literally use him for like movies, which they have, and TV shows and things like that. He was even on AEW to give the TNT title out.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson
absolutely.
just has that. Although one of the things, and this is now going to be back relative to wrestling, one of the things I would like to see is Mike Tyson in a tag match. And if I was to fantasy book it, I think it would be a situation where it would be like a Shaquille O'Neal or Snoop Dogg involved in the match as well. Because you're going to take
same thing.
The celebrities that are tied to AEW and use them in that sense, like Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson and Lance Archer versus Brian Cage and Shaquille O'Neal, for example. I think that would, yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you have Lance Archer, who's a heel, really good heel. I think Mike Tyson should be tied to a heel, personally. And then you put him up against someone that's either believable to beat him, someone like a Brian Cage. I don't want to use Jake Hager at all in that situation. The only other person I could see going up against Lance Archer and being like a believable opponent would maybe be Cody.
One thing I can see about Jake Hager would be kind of interesting for at least promotional use, as one's an MMA fighter and one's a boxer. So that'd be the promotional use for it.
Yeah, but Jake could not carry Mike Tyson through a match. He needs someone that could.
I'm saying in promotional use.
Right.
That would be where it would look good on paper.
And the people that could possibly carry him through a match are like a Cody. Honestly, even a Darby Allin. Darby Allin could carry him through the match because all Darby has to do is keep bouncing off of him.
I'm not so sure about. I would say more Cody, honestly.
Well, Cody's better opportunity for him, but you have to put him up against someone that could carry him through the match. And I can see how Darby could do it. I could see how Cody could do it. I was calling him Dean Ambrose. John Moxley could. And actually, even people from the Dark Order. A couple people from the Dark Order could.
Yeah. I also need some big names. So, like between Cody and Moxley would be the top draws for the money.
I come from a different perspective that you need people in that don't have that high of a name value.
Well, I guess what I was,
because you already got Mike Tyson and you already got Shaquille O'Neal. So you're going to draw eyes because you got those two involved in the match. You got a Lance Archer who looks mean as hell, and that's going to draw some attention.
But I understand what you're saying, but on the flip side of it too, it's nice to have that draw from your fans that are casual watchers of wrestling, but they can, that's that guy. If they don't watch AEW, okay, that's Dean Ambrose.
Right.
You're looking at Cody Rhodes. Okay, I mean, I said I understand to use it to help rise the other wrestlers. Sometimes if you look at somebody as far as Darby Allin or something like that, or Lance Archer, they might be familiar with. So in some ways it might be a little bit of a turn off. At the same time, I'm not disagreeing. Yes, totally. I'm like, I understand. It'd be good to promote their name more. Absolutely, I'm not disagreeing with that part. I'm just saying more or less. If you're in the card, that's what you look back years ago. You had Karl Malone and Rodman in there years ago. You had Hogan and DDP. Right. And that's where DDP wasn't like as big of a name as Hogan, but he was a big name. And that's where it helped promote it even more. That's why I say, but I understand what you're saying too. Is it will help rise up, the name of other guys too. I understand.
So you're talking about like having a representative from AEW being able to do like the talk show appearances.
Talk show, but also it's like the name is more recognizable. I mean,
then it would have to be something like,
or even the face. So some people that haven't watched AEW don't keep up with it, or they may watch it some years ago, or at least a few years or so forth, and they see John Moxley's face. I'm like, oh, that's Dean Ambrose. And of course they've seen Cody on WWE. and of course he's also in that new show, The Big Show, and
Right.
so it's like the name and the face looks more familiar.
Okay, now I get what the point you're trying to make. So at
that's
that
what
point you would have to be Cody Rhodes or Chris Jericho.
that your Jericho would be a great pick, and that's why I'm saying. I mean, I understand. Like I said, I understand your perspective of having someone like Darby Allin or Lance Archer. That'd be cool to help rise your name up. But as far as buying the event, okay, wow, we got Shaq.
But I do think Lance Archer needs to be involved because I think that would draw attention to people that are maybe from back in the '90s or something like that.
And he could be like a ringside enforcer or something.
No. What I mean is like involved in the tag team match, kind of like you used the reference of Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman with Hogan and DDP. DDP wasn't really known at that point.
Okay, well,
if you have one of the names,
he's known enough. I mean, I'm not saying he was a big, huge star like Hogan or nothing like that. I'm just saying, he was well known enough because how hot wrestling was at that time point. That's what I mean by that. It was not like, huh?
And what I'm thinking, so you and I kind of thinking similar but different. So what I'm thinking is you have either Jericho or Cody making, because they're going to have to, first, having those big names involved, there's going to be interest from the mainstream media. And what I mean by that is like your talk show hosts, the Jimmy Fallons, the Jimmy Kimmel, all those people. Right. Stephen Colbert. So they're going to talk about it because those are big names involved. You got Shaquille O'Neal with a big name basketball player, and you have Mike Tyson, a big name boxer. So you have the people that can make the runs. So let's say it's either Cody Rhodes or Chris Jericho. They can make all the talk show stops along the way. But then you have the second tier talk show hosts, your Seth Meyers, your Jim Cordell, I think is his name, or James Cordell, one of those. And there's another one that I'm blanking on who does.
That is right. Yeah, I guess
the second level that does the late shows or whatever. At that point, you can get Lance Archer out there and doing those runs as a heel, kind of staying a character, still talking about the thing, but he's on this whole thing. If I get in the ring with Shaquille O'Neal, I'll teach him why he shouldn't be coming into our thing and saying basketball, doing that kind of run.
So who is he teaming up with? We only got two teams here.
Mike Tyson. It'd be Lance Archer and Mike Tyson, and then Shaquille O'Neal with somebody, either Chris Jericho or Cody Rhodes. One of those two.
If you're going to have
Jericho, you have Cody Rhodes or Chris Jericho that has the name value that will get the interest from the people that just do the regular late shows. But then you're putting Lance Archer out there, a relatively unknown guy who's going to get attention because of the way he looks and because he looks like a mean motherfucker. But we get him out there making those kind of runs, build up the name value behind Lance Archer to where you don't have to rest on these people that have been in the game for a little bit of time and have recognizability with WWE. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but so if you're going to have Tyson being a heel, being the heel team with Archer, Jericho would have turned face. I don't know how much he has a respect factor, but would have turned face, and
right.
And that's some people.
That's why I say it's like fantasy booking, right? Because I think there's a possibility Jericho's going to turn face relatively soon. I don't know how soon, but I think he's going to turn face soon.
Honestly, it's sort of it's Shaq and Cody's history now. It's sort of would make it more enticing too. But I'm saying it's fine to have you're the one that don't have a well-known name outside wrestling, which is Lance Archer. It's fine to have that, but you got to have those recognizable names other than Shaq and Tyson. That's what I was getting at. It's like
I get the point.
Yeah, if you're going to have the other guys, it's not going to draw as much. So,
right. No, I get that point. Now that's why I shifted that a little bit. And with Shaq, and the only reason I even say Cody, well, one, because he has the name values in the Big Show, things like that. TNT's throwing a lot of things at Cody. He's even doing a new reality show with Brandy, kind of like what Miz is already doing with Maurice. But yeah, I don't like that one. But anyway, but on the other side of it, Cody and Shaq just had a match where they were against each other, but Cody throughout this whole thing, I respect Shaq because of this. Okay, now you built the possibility you guys could be on a team together. There's a respect factor. So
yeah. Yeah, I hope they have a one-on-one match one of these days. Hello?